or with a foam roller. It's just not going to work well. For the most part, we'll still try to follow the sequence. We'll begin with a few just feel-good warm-up movements, starting in kneeling with the roller on the mat in front of you. Knees about hip-width apart. Reach your arms up to the ceiling and just feel the length in your body. Feel the length in the side bodies. Can you still access your low abdominals from here? Particularly on that exhale, pulling the belly in, and then start your rolling down and try to keep your hips over your knees rather than dropping too far behind. They're going to drop a bit, but create that upper body curl, bringing your hands to the roller and start rolling that roller out into what would be more of puppy pose. So less of child's pose and more of your sitting bones staying over your knees, taking a nice inhale forward, and then exhale, round it in just a few inches. We won't come all the way up. Inhale into the length, reaching the sitting bones behind you. And exhale, curling low back, mid back, upper back. 2 more times. Inhale into that length. Exhale into your curl. Inhale into your length. Exhale into your curl. Now reposition the roller at an angle. So we're going to go in a little rotated extension. And exhale to curl. Inhale to extend. And exhale, curl 2 more times. And reaching. Returning. Let it feel good. Be light with your shoulders. And return. And then to the opposite angle. Taking that roller to the diagonal. Same thing. Feel your curling. Feel your reaching. Exhaling as we flex. Inhale as you extend. Exhale as you flex. Inhale to extend. 1 more time. And then return yourself back up to that starting position. Let's take a bit of kneeling, a thigh stretch here. So arms reach out in front. Plug your shoulders lightly into your back. Feel those abdominals lift. Begin to hinge at those knee joints. That's the only place movement occurs in the stretch. And then return everything back up. Inhaling tall. Let's exhale as we hinge. Inhale to return 2 more times. Exhale, pulling that waistband together and in. 1 more time, lengthening. Feel the wall behind you and back up to your start and let those arms rest. Okay, take the roller behind you for a little bit of a shoulder stretch now. So my palms are facing you, shoulders are back and down. And it's tempting here to let the roller or the shoulders being back kind of throw the ribs forward. See if you can reconnect into that center again, dropping the bottom ribs, zipping up through the abdominals, and then just take a little roll up, elbows bend, and press the roller down. A little elbow bend, and reach the roller down. Good. 2 more times, thinking wide collarbones, lifted abdominals, and just letting the chest and shoulders open a bit. Good. Now, work the roller up a little higher so it's closer in towards your elbow creases. And we're going to take a small rotation here. Inhaling in the center, and on that exhale, start a rotation of your waistband rib cage. The hips stay quite square to the front. It'll be small. Inhale back to the center and feel that rotation to the opposite side. Inhale to the center. Always listening to your body. Take good care of yourself. If you have super tight shoulders, you might not be ready for this type of action yet. It might be just holding that TheraBand or not holding anything at all and simply working on rotation is ideal for you. And then let that all relax. Okay, take a seat. 1 more set of simple warm up before we move to our series and sequences. I'm putting the roller on my left side. Hand to the top of my head. Reach your head up into your hands and lengthen. This left side is going to want to just shorten and bend. See if you can reach out of it as well. Yes, it's going to bend, but we're not going to simply collapse it down. We're going to support it from the inside, muscular lifting action, even as we side bend and return back to the start. Good. This hand on top of the head is to help you stretch the lats a bit underneath the armpit. And you can experiment with taking the hand to your head long and up for a little variation. But sometimes I like to start with those shorter levers instead of just going for the full range. See what the body feels like with that shorter arm length. And then returning up. Good. Take your arm out to your side. Rotation. Again, waistband, rib cage rotates us to the roller and open back up to your center. Try that 2 more times. Rotate and return. One more time. We'll hold this rotation, rotate, and then take a little reaching and returning. Reaching and returning. One more time and reach, return. Take hold of the roller end to end. Lift the roller up. Bring it over to its edge. So now left hand's on top of the roller in my case, might be different for you. Reach across and just find a gentle twist here. So you're looking underneath that armpit of the elevated arm. And then come back to the center, opposite arm on top of the roller. We'll thread the needle. Last time we did our foam roller, we did this in the mermaid Z-sit position, as I recall. But one more time, top hand comes on top of the roller, opposite arm threads under, little rotation. So you can always experiment with these movement in various seated positions. Good. Last time for our threading the needle, top hand on, reach underneath, breathe into the rib cage here, expand into the body, and then return and set the roller on its edge now on this side. Hand to the top of your head, lengthen your head into your hands, and just find that easy side bending. It doesn't create a lot of effort through the shoulder. It's the center of the body guiding you over, right, and the center of the body lifting you back up. The extremities going along for a ride provided by your spine. Good. Welcome to work that long arm. See how that feels to you as you lift. Can that hip stay gently grounded even as you reach away from it? And returning, and then check in with your rotation. Exhale and rotate to the roller. And inhale to open. Feeling that full exhale, staying relaxed. Moving calmly with intention. One more time, holding that rotation and working a little bit of rolling forward and back. Just checking in with rotation to this new side. Taking the hands long on the roller, lifting your roller up overhead, planting it to your side. Top hand stays on top, looks good. And then add that gentle twist. Hand can reach to opposite knee. Pause there, breathe there. Just let the breath increase the stretch, provide openness. Bringing it back up, opposite hand on top, thread the needle underneath. Looking lightly back behind you, not heavy head, neck, but really feeling that rotation from the center of the body. And bringing it back up, one more set. Opposite hand to the top, hand towards the knee, gently work into that open rotation, both hips square. And then last time threading the needle, check in with that idea that the head and neck don't have to be heavy. I could thread the needle under and gently look forward, that it's not my head and neck providing the rotation. It comes from that rib to hip bone. And then back in to your start. Awesome. All right, one last time. Take the roller directly behind you. We did a little bit of this in kneeling, the idea of just opening the shoulders. But take a moment here, cinch in your body, feel whole and long, and just lean back a bit. Lift the breastbone, lift the gaze. Maybe you can feel a little bit of your shoulder blades gently drawing towards each other. And then bring it back up. And again, lifting, hinging, leaning back, still feeling your zipper. And bring it back in to your start. Very good. Okay, let's start back, head to tail, centered on the roller. And we'll think about building into our 100 here on the roller. As always, put a blanket on your roller if you feel like the density of it's just a little bit too much for your spine. There's a lot of different softness versus hardness of the rollers out there on the market. Okay, so as you lie on your back, we're aligning ourselves to the center of our head. Shoulder blades feel heavy on the roller. There's probably a little bit of space where your lumbar curve is. That's fine. Preserve that space, but use your abdominals to support that space. Use zipper in and up, and it provides a bit of co-contraction and support to the low back. You know your hip bones and pubic pelvic bone, they're level to the ceiling. We're not tucking, and we're not overarching. We're simply resting on our bones from the head to the tailbone. Breathe there. A few nice deep breaths. Don't sacrifice the breath. Maximize it. Keep up the emphasis on the breath. Could you breathe those deep breaths with your arms reaching to the ceiling? So we take away the support of the arms, go back into your deep breath. Can you soften your hips a bit? Are your toes relaxed or are they heavy gripping the mat? Are you breathing fully? What would it be like to try to pick up one foot here? So now you just have one anchor on the mat. One foot is on the mat, the other extremities are floating. Can you still find your center? And I have my foot just lifted high enough for a piece of paper. A very small lift of that foot so you can focus on the alignment of your body. Let's try the opposite foot. Foot goes down, just a piece of paper, slip it under the opposite foot. How hard does your center have to work here to maintain balance, safety, anchor points, and then let that all rest back down. Good. I hope you felt your abdominals grabbing there. All right. You're holding on to imaginary reformer handles for our 100. The arms are by your hips. Lift up your head and shoulders. Look over those kneecaps and pump your arms. Breathing in 2, 3, 4, 5, and out 2, 3, 4, 5. Check in that your pelvis is again level. Your abdominals are lifting in and up. There's not a heavy tuck. You're working to relax the front of the hips, to zipper up the abdominals. We want the abdominals holding us and our hips relaxed so that if we chose to lift one leg, our hips would be free to move because they're not working to stabilize us as much as our abdominals. You can play with that. Maybe you do that single leg lifting with your head down. That would be better for me on that leg. But it's just something that you can play with on your own is how do I create more of a challenge without undue stress as I pump the arms, as I work into the 100, maybe a little bit of pumping action. One side is definitely more challenging than the other. It's a sign that the obliques on one side are probably more stronger than the opposite, and then rest it all back down. All right, let's about our roll up. Bring your fingertips towards the ceiling. Reach the fingers across, pick up your head, pick up your shoulders. Use your hands to support you and bring yourself up to a sitting position on the roller. Yep, so fairly challenging here. Using your hands for support. Start the curling of the pelvis. Deeply scoop those abdominals. And with as much assistance as you need from your hands, lower yourself back down. Let's try that roll up one more time. Starting with the head and the shoulders, healing, curling, ribs back, belly back, finding yourself in an upright position, top edge of the roller, and then curl your abdominals and roll everything back down to your start. Okay, that'll be enough of the roll up for now. We might come back to it later on the mat. Single leg circles would be next in our sequence. Bring your right knee tabletop. Take a couple of little limbering kicks. Extend the leg, bend the knee. Yep, do that a few times and reach up, but sink down with the abdomen. Check in with those hip points. Are they still square to the ceiling or are you hiking the right side? Think of reaching out of your right sitting bone to preserve length through the sides of the body. One more time with that right leg. Lift it up, flex and point your foot a few times. Free up your ankle, free up your toes. Great job. Make some circles with that ankle. Reverse it. Okay, arms at your sides as much as you need to assist you. Try a tick-tock. Reach the leg across the center line and back up over the hip. Reach the leg to the back and return to the center. We cross, a deduction, and center. We carry away, a abduction. How much are your hands working? How much is your core working? Can you sink your ribs? Can you sink those abdominals? Feel some connection. And we'll add on the true circle. Cross, circle, around, and return. Take your time with it. You don't have to be with me. This is as much as a home practice for you and self-discovery. One more time here. We'll do 4 circles. Pausing at the top, reverse it. Maybe you come to your elbows and have your fingers to the ceiling just to challenge the work in the center of the body again. Maybe it's spider fingers on the mat with the elbows lifted. Nice. And then let that leg return back home. That's more work than I would think, personally. Okay, left knee tabletop. Ribs, belly sinking down. Feel those key alignment points, even as you straighten and bend that left knee a few times. Energize the back of the left sitting bones. Feel like you're reaching head to tail, even as the leg goes up and down. There's energy in other vectors, so to speak. Hold the long leg lifted and work into your foot ankle. I was listening to a podcast this morning with Aaron Rodgers, and he was discussing the rehab of his, I think it was like an Achilles tendon tear. And it's one of those movements we take for granted, and we want to keep our integrity of those tissues healthy and strong. And just simple movements like this are so valuable. Make your circles, and then reverse. And we'll examine our tick-tock. So just reaching across the midline as you work to keep your upper body square. Coming back to the start, carrying the leg out to the side, still working upper body square. Notice what that opposite leg is doing. Can your right knee stay directed to the ceiling, or is it wanting to move opposite the left leg? And then when you're ready, introduce your circles, crossing, sweeping, around and up center. Naturally, our circles are much smaller than when we're on the mat because our body senses that we're resting on 6 inches, 6-inch circle. And then from the top, reverse it. Are your head, neck, shoulder muscles fairly relaxed? We don't want a lot of overflow of tension up into the neck and shoulders. Keep redirecting the tension to the center of your body. Good. And then let that relax back down. All right. Slide so they're off. Let's take a momentary pause here on our back. Let yourself settle and relax. Maybe you feel like your mat is now much softer. You're sinking into it like a feather bed. Those are your muscles able to recognize their safety and their ability to simply relax and be at home there. Okay, just use a roll-up technique. We'll move to rolling like a ball. Float your arms, curl, pick up your body, bring your hips towards your heels. No roller here for our rolling like a ball. Find your balanced position. Your feet lift, the posterior curls. Maybe you just hang out here. Could you go a quarter of an inch further back without actually rocking? Work the lifting of the spine even as you curl your tailbone. Lift your spine, but curl your tailbone. And when you're ready, let that energy take you back, kaboom, back up. Inhale, rock, and exhale, hold your shape. Inhale, rock, and exhale, hold. Two more. And up. And up. Great work. Okay, let's move to our abdominal series. Using our roller like we sometimes do the core ball for a little bit of reciprocal movement and extension, flexion, hip and knee. Place the roller under your right foot. Layer your hands behind your head, but don't pick up your head yet. Think single leg stretch here. Reach that right leg away and bring it in. Repeat that a couple times. Reach away and bring in. Can you make this movement more about the center of your body than the leg? Inhaling out, exhale, pull in. Find your upper body curl. Inhale to reach, exhale in. With that upper body curl, add your reciprocal movement of pushing and pulling. Let's go 8, 7, 6. Is your head heavy in your hands? Don't pull on your neck. Curl from your abdominal ribcage connection. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1. Upper body rest back down. Switch feet. Left foot on, right knee tabletop. Keep your head, neck, shoulders on the mat to start. Groove the pattern. Introduce the choreography to your body. See if you can connect your ribs towards your hip bones. They sink down front of the body. Breathe broadly into the sides. Add that upper body curl. Head is heavy. Inhale it out. Exhale it in. Adding that reciprocal movement here for 8 and 7. Check in that you're constantly regenerating your low abdominal muscles beneath the belly button, working to connect, reduce the doming or the distension of the belly there. 2 more times. Good work. And return it back home. So that's single leg stretch with a couple of variations. Let's think double leg stretch here. Have your arches lightly on the dome of the roller. Fingertips to the ceiling. Start to reach the legs out in one direction. Reach the arms out behind you. Try not to arch the back or flare the ribs. And then return everything back into your center. Inhale into your length, into your extension. Exhale and return it in. Inhale into your extension. I like to hug my feet, my knees, my thighs close here. So can your arms carry back without making a bridge of your back body? Can you stay gently grounded and centered as you reach longer in both directions? Now pause with the hands up, knees bent. Curl up your head and shoulders. Inhale, reach. Exhale, sweep the arms around, hug them in. Inhale, reach. Exhale, sweep it in. For 3, sweep around. 2, sweep around. 1, and in. Head, neck, shoulders, rest back down. Hope you're feeling the work in the right places. Single straight leg stretch. So, right foot on the roller. Roll that roller out so that it ends up around your ankle. Lightly press down with the back of that right heel ankle. As you press down, extend the left leg up. And small release. Press down with the right, reach your heel to the ceiling with the left and release. Creating muscle energy, feeling that power from the center of the body without a lot of extra movements to start. Now, as you press down with the right leg, try to draw the left leg a little closer to you and then release. Press down, draw that leg closer to you and release. 2 more times there. Press down, draw the leg closer to you and release. 1 more time. Press down, draw in. Curl up head and shoulders. Hands behind the thigh here. Let's press and stretch and release. Press and stretch and release. 2 more. Press and release. Press and release. Let the left leg relax down. Bring that right leg up to the ceiling. We'll go back to just priming the movement. A little bit of pressing down with that left leg and release. Little press. Now, if you take a hyperextend in your knees, I'd encourage you to keep a little bit of softness in the knees. It's not necessarily lock it all out. Instead, generate that contraction of the hamstrings and glutes. Add your right leg reaching up as the left leg presses down and release. Press energy in both directions. Up through the heel, down through the back of the left leg. Start adding a progression of your right foot, drawing closer towards your face. Draw it in. I was never a ballerina. I don't necessarily demonstrate this the best, but I feel that leg coming closer to me. Add your upper body curls. You press down with the left, draw that opposite leg in, and then a little release. I like a bit of co-contraction here. So even though I'm drawing that leg to me, I'm simultaneously pressing away. There's this action of the front and back of the hip kind of working in 2 directions, even with this right leg, and then rest it all down. Okay, let's work into the full single straight leg stretch. From here, curl up your head and shoulders, draw one leg towards you, hands behind the calf or hamstring, lightly pull, pull, switch. Pull, pull, switch. 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. Rest it all back down. Good. All right. Where you are, rock and roll yourself up. We're going to go to the double leg lower, but do so back on our alignment, tailbone to crown of head. So getting back into that place of stability, the center of the body, which is a necessity as we rest on the roller. Bring the knees tabletop. Check in with the back of the head, shoulder blades, sacrum, tailbone in connection with your roller. You decide how much hand support you want. Wider will give you a little bit more support. Narrow with the arms, a little bit more challenging. How much of the hands you use, up to you. Single leg lower, one hip drops towards the mat and pick it up. Be mindful here that as the hip drops, you're still working the center staying strong. We want to avoid the hip dropping and the ribs flaring, which would kind of be a common reaction if you weren't training your Pilates connections here of the strong center. Continue the action. Let your knees rotate towards the sides and keep up that alternating foot drop. So now you're in more of a diamond shape. Nice little inner thigh stretch to be found here in that external rotated position. Continue passing back through the center, and let's try a bit of the internal rotation of the hip and knee. So the knees brush one another, and the feet go slightly out towards the outside edge of the mat. Your gaze is still to the ceiling. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Do not wear your shoulders as if they are earrings. Keep them relaxed and heavy. And then back into that middle place. Use those low abdominals to support the low back. Return your feet parallel, shins parallel to the ceiling. Let's think about your double leg lower lift. With those knees bent, begin to gradually lower at the hips and return them back in. Let's try inhale to lower and exhale to lift. Try that 2 more times. Inhale to lower. Mine is a very small movement. I can feel how much my low back would want to arch, so I'm just really trying to contain strength in the center and back up. Now we're going to switch the breathing. Just take an inhale for nothing, and on your exhale, start to lower the legs. Inhale back up. Exhale, lower. Pull those abdominals in. Inhale it up. 2 more times. Small movements here. Knees, thighs are close. Last time here. And then return the feet to the mat. Let's take a small pelvic rock in both directions. So arching your back and gently curling your pelvis. So it's an anterior and posterior tilt. It's a forward and back movement of the pelvis bones. Pause in neutral. Let's consider our crisscross. Take your right hand to the ceiling, right hand up, tap across towards your left thigh, and then open the arm to the back right corner. Just work that action of crossing the midline and opening the arm up. Crossing the midline and opening the arm up. Float your left knee. Continue that action, crossing the midline. As you open the arm up, let's reach the leg away. Cross and open. Full times there. Funny enough, anytime we work in the diagonal with the extremities, it naturally activates our oblique muscles. So we don't have to do a mobility rotation. We can actually just maintain stability, work in the diagonal, and those muscle fibers fire up. Hold the arm and the leg reaching away from each other. Let's add a straight leg up, straight arm up, and reach away for 5. Straight up, and sink the belly for 4. In and out with the air for 3. Good job, Chris. And lift and reach away for 2. One more time here. And then let that arm and leg rest back down. All right, so left arm up to the ceiling. You're still centered. Hip bones as level as you can make them here. Work your diagonal, arm back by your left ear, and then reaching across to your right thigh. When we work with the foam roller, I often consider it just a mindful meditation or a movement meditation. We don't go hurried. We really try to slow down, focus on the breath, the stability, the space within our body. And for many of us, that's an important exercise, slowing down, bringing awareness to our connections. Lift that right knee tabletop. So now you've got a few less anchor points to help you with your stability. And when you're ready, add that reaching and returning of arm and leg. Maybe you don't need your right hand on the mat, or maybe just your fingernails are on the mat. 2 more times here. And those weeble wobbles, those are fine. That's pretty natural. Hold the arm and the leg long away. Last set here, we have our kicks. The kicks happen at your hip crease. See if you can keep your tailbone heavy even as you lift the leg up. It's not a tuck and roll. It's a straight hinge as you lift and lower. 2 more times. Gazing to the ceiling. Shoulders relaxed, neck relaxed. And down, and return it all back home. Excellent work. Okay, gently roll off your roller, and again, take that pause on your back. Let your body just sink into the mat. Hug your knees into your chest. A little bit of reverse rocking here. We were holding that pelvis in stability, but we don't want it to be stuck in stability. We want to be able for it to move in both directions as we need to for everyday life. So now introduce that little posterior curl. Add your upper body. When you're ready, rock and roll yourself up to sitting. We're at the spine stretch. Let's begin spine stretch seated on top of the roller, using it as feedback for our sitting bones, right? So move the flesh a little bit if you need to there so you feel those bones equal into the mat. Bend the knees a little bit. If your legs go straight, and this happens to your low back, bend the knees and work to bring your tailbone more behind you and zipper up the abdominals. Take your hands, let's go hands to the top of your head. Inhale in, and as you exhale, start to curl and reach your head into your hands, reaching your head forward, reaching your spine forward. Return, rolling your spine back up to the stomach. One more time here. Inhaling tall. Exhale, curl, soft shoulders, ribs back, belly back. Can you feel that slight flexion of the low back, a little stretch there? And roll everything back up. Traditional position with the arms out in front. Imagine you've got your circle underneath you, lightly pressed down to grow taller, spine stretch forward, lightly reaching from your side bodies. Yes, your shoulders might elevate, but let that happen from reaching through your side bodies, not just hiking the shoulders automatically. And roll everything back up one more time. Inhale, tall. Exhale, peel and curl. Belly back, ribs back, reaching, reaching, reaching. And return everything back up. Good. Arms relaxed. Set your roller aside for a minute. Next in the series would be open leg rocker. No roller. Like rolling like a ball, hips come forward towards your heels, hands to the outsides of the ankles. Rotate your posterior a little bit so that you can float your feet and balance just off of those sitting bones. Try a single leg extension here. One leg reaches up and bend it back in, and opposite leg reaches. You have a string from your head to the ceiling, and you're picking yourself up through your spine, even as you work those angles of the legs. If all is going reasonably well, try both. Extend the legs, lift the head to the ceiling, balance, hold that shape. Can you still curl your low abdominals here? Curl your low belly. Breathe there. Add a little movement of the legs together and apart for 3, together and apart for 2, together and apart for 1. While we're here, you have the option of rolling. Curl your abdominals, rock back, roll up, pause and hold. 2 more. Inhale, rock. Exhale up. So this is rolling like a ball with long legs. And curl back and up. Excellent. Bring your feet together. Walk down the backs of the legs. Press the arms into the earth. Let's go right into corkscrew. Legs reach to the right. Circle them down to the left and find center. To the left. Circle down to the right and center. Right. Sweep around. And can the action begin at the waistband and around? One more set. We go down, around, up to the start, and we reach, sweep, around, and up. Hug your knees in, rock and roll yourself up. We have the saw. I'd like us to return one more time to the roller in a seated position. When our hips and low back feel tight, it's great to elevate yourself on any kind of surface, and the roller works well for this. Again, bend the knees a bit. If you tend to be hyperextensible and sag into the knees, that's another reason to bend the knees. If you tend to be tight in the low back, bend them to lift up taller. Take your hands to the ceiling. Rotate to your camera. Rotate to your device. Feel that rotation in your body. Do you still feel your sitting bones on the hip bones or sitting bones on the foam roller, or have they changed position? Come back to the center. Try to stay equally weighted on your sitting bones as you rotate at your rib cage. And back to the center. Should be no hip movement. You're not pushing the accelerator with a foot. Hips, knees, ankles, feet stay still. One more rotation. And back into your center. Wide arms. Rotate to your camera. Back arm presses in and up as you reach forward for 3. Reach 2. Reach 1. Inhale, roll it up, find center. We twist. Back arm presses in and up. Ear seeks the knee for 3, 2, 1. Roll it up, find center, and twist and reach 3. Ear seeks the knee for 2 and for 1. And roll it up. One more set. Twist. Back palm presses in and up. Hold 3, hold 2, hold 1, and roll it all back in. Good. Joe Pilates compared that to wringing out a dishcloth. I'm squeezing out through the center. Let's move prone onto our belly for some variations of our saw prone extension. So on your stomach, wrists on the roller in a Y shape. Thumbs are up. Feel the heaviness of your hips into the mat here. Work a shoulder blade gliding action of shoulders elevate and shoulders draw down. Shoulders elevate and shoulders draw down. Continue that a few times. I like to inhale into the length. So inhale as you reach. Exhale as you draw down. 2 more times. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, return. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, return. Float your face just a little higher, chest a little higher here. Turn and look over one shoulder. Check in with that rotation. You can look to your camera. You can look center. You can look to the opposite side. Look center and rest it back down. Reposition your roller now under your forearms. Those were done with straight arms, the shoulder elevation and depression. Now we're going to add bending the elbows. As you draw the roller into you, the elbows bend and you create that upper body arc and then return into your length. It may be even smaller. Reach for the crown of your head first. Reach so long that eventually the upper back has to start arcing. So that arc is distributed more from the upper back rather than just falling into the lower back. You've got to be willing to make these movements small. You have to be curious. You have to breathe. One more time here. Shoulders draw down, crown of the head reaches long. Let that breastbone reach forward and eventually start reaching up and return everything back down. All right, take your hands underneath your shoulders and just take a little child's pose. Curl the abdominals, set your hips back, and let your low back relax there. Let's move into 4-point for some knee stretches. So hands are under your shoulders, knees are under your hips, body's reaching head to tail. One leg, extend it back behind you and just find your balance point. What would it be like to take the opposite fingertips forward? Could you still keep your hips square? Maybe introduce the hand lifting and return it back down, knee in, opposite leg to opposite arm again. Start with just the leg action, reaching back, fingertips reaching forward, maybe a little arm elevation, and bring it all back in. And then with the flat back, we're working knee stretches. Knees pull into the chest, knees press out. Knees pull in, and knees press out. Working this with a neutral pelvis, minimizing the tendency to tuck. We might go to a rounded back, but right now we're just working flat back for 4, flat back for 3, upper body weight bearing, pull that mat apart for 2, and 1, and then let your knees rest down for a minute. We're going to do one more set, and this time we'll do knee stretches with the round back. So we've taken a right turn onto the reformer for the knee stretch series. Okay, so back onto shins, knees, hands under your shoulders. Inhale for nothing, and as you exhale, curl your belly and pull the knees in. Curl your belly, pull it in. Let's curl in on the exhale. Exhale, lift your tummy for 6. Exhale, pull the belly in for 5. Exhale in 4, beneath your belly button. Exhale in for 3. Use that breath. Come on and strengthen for 2. And 1. And then let it all relax back down. Okay, we'll turn it over for a bit of bridging. First, using the roller under our feet. Centering yourself on your mat. Checking in as if you were lying on the roller. Can you sense your natural alignment? Head, shoulder blades, tailbone, sacrum. Arches of your feet are on the roller. Zipping up those abdominals. Keep the energy of your heels being attracted to your backside. So you're doing a perpetual hamstring curl with the back of your legs as you lift into the bridge. And then lower the shape back down to the mat. Good. Hands pressed down. Nice breath in. Exhale, curl the abdominals. Pick yourself up. Easy gaze to the ceiling. And lower everything back down. One more time. Same thing. Feel that connection. Hamstrings, heels to hamstrings, heels to glutes. Hold that lift. Could you do a little pulling in of the roller? Small pulse in for 6, 5, pull in 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower everything back down. Okay, let's take the roller now under your hips, still working on bridging, lifting the hips, resting your backside on the roller, and corking the roller with your hands. Nice open shoulders. Just breathe here, because for many of us, 6 inches up the roller, the way we're resting here, with our hips up, is a stretch for these hip flexors. Use your breath. Every exhale, pull your abdominals gently into the low back. Should never feel pain, strain with these movements. You could do this with a half roller if you felt like this was too high for you, or even just on the ground. Move to right knee lifted, and we'll take a little switch in the midair, alternating hip drop here. Alternating hip drop. First 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Both knees tabletop, can of the legs. Lift them up and bend them down. Lift them up and then down. 3 more. Inhale and exhale. 3. Reach and bend for 2. Reach, bend for 1. Take a little side rotation of the hips and knees. Small movement here. Upper body stay square to the ceiling. Gently massaging the glute tissue a little bit here, side to side. Last time here. Then returning to the center, adjust that roller if you need to. Both legs up. Take an inner thigh stretch. Take your hands to the inner thighs themselves and give yourself a little extra stretch and hold here. You could flex and point those feet a little bit, add a little bend of the knees, but just work that straddle with the hips supported. Return the legs back home. Draw your right knee into your chest. Give it a little hold, a little pull. And work that left leg lower down for a nice hip flexor stretch. Breathing there, softening hip, knee, foot. Or letting gravity just apply the stretch as you supply the breath. One more nice deep breath. And then return. Opposite knee in, opposite leg up, allowing that leg to reach long. Gently drawing that knee into the chest, pausing here, holding here, breathing here. I'm so glad you all have chosen to take time to do your Pilates during the week. We're busy people, but the reality is we don't have time to not take care of ourselves. Life is too important. There's too many demands for us to not focus on some intentional self-care, strengthening, mobility, balance. All very valuable. And then bringing the knees back in. Let the roller come out from underneath you. Bring yourself up to a seated position. We'll finish with a teaser combination just to work on the muscles necessary to help us into our teaser. We did this with the ball yesterday evening. So place your right foot on the roller, left foot flat, and then from this position, work into just a small half roll down, a small beginning of a C curve, and bring yourself back up. Roller stays still as you curl your posterior, starting to find that position slightly off of your sitting bones and back up. One more time. Roll the posterior, the low back gently rounds to follow. Hold that, roll the roller out, and bring it in for 4. Roll it out, bring it in for 3. You're in your half roll down and you're rolling out, or your more balanced teaser shape. It's not even really a half roll down. And reach out, return the roller in, bring yourself back up tall over your sitting bones. We're putting those two movements together. We roll back as we press the roller out, and then we return it in for 4. Roll out, return in for 3, curl belly, roll out, return in for 2. One more time, roll it out, hold the out, lift the leg, lower the leg, lift the leg, lower the leg. 2 more. Can you feel how important this strength is in the hip for your teaser? Your low abdominals hold you. Your hips have to move to lift. Hold that lift. Add a little pulse of the upper torso back and forth. Pulse up 4, pulse 3, pulse 2, pulse 1, and let that all relax. Opposite side. So left foot on the roller, right foot planted on the mat. Find your upright position. Inhale tall as you exhale. Curl the abdominals, little roll back, C shape, and bring it back up. Little roll back, and bring it up. One more time here. Little roll back. Hold your rolling back. Add the leg out, and in for 4. Out, in 3, out, in 2, hold, bring it back in for 1. We're going to put those 2 movements together. We start up tall. As we roll the roller out, we roll back into our C curve and pick it up for 4. Inhale it out. Exhale in for 3. Roll it out. Return for 2. Last time here. Hold the out. Here's that straight leg lift for 4. Lift 3. Lift 2. Lift 1. Hold your lift. Little pulse. Up 4. Up 3. Here's 2. And 1. And let that all relax. Let's roll out the front of our hips here. So bring the roller back towards your pelvis and hips. And just work yourself through your quads a bit and back through the fronts of the hips. And draw it forward and back. Nice little plank motion. You could take this to straighter arms and work a little bit more of that swan extension. And then bring your knees down to the mat. Take the roller under your hands. Take your child's pose here. Let your hips just gently sink back. And then bring yourself up. And we're going to finish today with the exercise that Aaron Rodgers said was most important to the integrity of his leg, calf, ankle strength. And it's very simple. It's a calf raise. But in particular, a single leg calf raise. We're going to start, however, with both feet parallel. We'll do the double calf raise. You won't see my face, but hopefully you'll see my feet here. Let's just go parallel. Hands lightly press into the roller. Lift and lower your heels. There's a Pilates instructor, physical therapist that I like a lot, Sherry Betts, B-E-T-Z. And she works with everybody, but she's especially focused on her mother, who's in her 80s, and she features a lot of videos with her mother and how they go about conditioning. But just as we age, that particular population, which I am part of, right? We're all aging, and the importance of calf raises. And she encourages people to work up to at least 20 single leg calf raises without needing any support. So I'm using the roller for some support. I've switched to a single leg action. This is valuable in our walking, but for Aaron Rodgers, this is how he knew he could start sprinting again, was when he could do these single leg calf raises without unnecessary pain and strain, among many other things, of course. I just thought it was interesting that the one really integral exercise that notified his trainers that he was ready for more work was when he could successfully complete high reps of these standing calf raises. Because when you run, that's exactly what you're doing. You're pushing off that foot. Try the opposite side, same thing. Up and down, you can aim for 20. A lot of times I'll place my opposite foot on a chair for a little bit of support. I haven't been very faithful with these, but it's probably one that we should all be regularly employing in our exercises. Let's go 5 more here. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great. Let that go. Just set your roller aside. Let's finish up with 3 deep breaths just to calm and center ourselves. Imagine that roller behind your head, shoulder blades, and sacrum tailbone. You're nice and aligned. You inhale the arms up. You exhale and float them down. Inhale to lift. Exhale to float. Good. On this next one, add your calf raise. As you lift the arms, lift your heels. Keep your heels lifted even as you lower your arms. Keep reaching to the ceiling. Now, even as you lower your heels, keep reaching to the ceiling. It's your two-way stretch all the way back down. Thank you for joining me. Would love to hear from you. If you need any additional tutorials, videos, feel free. Send me an email and say, could you outline or describe a little bit more how we could build to a particular exercise? I hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Chris.